Another day, another story. The vernal equinox arrives on Thursday, marking the start of the spring season for the Northern Hemisphere and the fall in the Southern Hemisphere. On the equator, the sun will be directly overhead at noon. Equinoxes are the only time when both the North and South poles are lit by sunshine at the same time. Welcome to Tabo Eminent Channel. The events have been marked and celebrated around the world for centuries. Nowruz, the Iranian New Year, is based on the spring equinox, for example. And at the Mayan site Chichen Itza in Mexico, people gather during the equinox to watch the sun create a shadow pattern that resembles a serpent descending a building called El Castillo. But what is happening in the heavens? Here's what to know about how we split up the year using the Earth's orbit. The spring equinox marks the first day of astronomical spring in the Northern Hemisphere. It happens when the sun crosses the celestial equator from south to north, making day and night nearly equal in length. This usually occurs around March 19 to 21 each year. What happens during the spring equinox? Equal day and night. While not perfectly equal, most places experience roughly 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of darkness. Sun rises and sets due east and due west. This makes it a great time for observing solar alignments. Longer days begin. After the equinox, the Northern Hemisphere starts tilting more toward the sun, leading to longer, warmer days until the summer solstice in June. Cultural and historical significance. Many cultures celebrate new beginnings and renewal during the equinox. Events like Nowruz, Persian New Year, and Ostara, a Wiccan festival, are linked to the spring equinox. Ancient structures, such as Chichen Itza in Mexico, align with the sun's movement during this time. The word equinox comes from two Latin words meaning equal and night. That's because on the equinox, day and night last almost the same amount of time, though one may get a few extra minutes, depending on where you are on the planet. The Northern Hemisphere's spring, or vernal, equinox can land between March 19 and 21, depending on the year. Its fall, or autumnal, equinox can land between September 21 and 24. What is the solstice? The solstices mark the times during the year when the Earth is at its most extreme tilt toward or away from the sun. This means the hemispheres are getting very different amounts of sunlight, and days and nights are at their most unequal. During the Northern Hemisphere's summer solstice, the upper half of the Earth is tilted in toward the sun, creating the longest day and shortest night of the year. This solstice falls between June 20 and 22. Meanwhile, at the winter solstice, the Northern Hemisphere is leaning away from the sun, leading to the shortest day and longest night of the year. The winter solstice falls between December 20 and 23. What's the difference between meteorological and astronomical seasons? These are just two different ways to carve up the year. While astronomical seasons depend on how the Earth moves around the sun, meteorological seasons are defined by the weather. They break down the year into 3-month seasons based on annual temperature cycles. By that calendar, spring starts on March 1, summer on June 1, fall on September 1, and winter on December 1. The Associated Press Health and Science Department receives support from the Howard Hughes Medical Institute's Science and Educational Media Group. The AP is solely responsible for all content. Springtime is right around the corner, as the first day of the season is on Thursday. The first day of spring represents the vernal equinox in the Northern Hemisphere, an astronomical event that occurs when the sun aligns with the Earth's equator. On the contrary, in the Southern Hemisphere, the upcoming equinox is known as the autumnal equinox, as it represents the start of fall. During this time, the Southern Hemisphere begins to tilt away from the sun, resulting in cooler weather and shorter days. What is a vernal equinox? A vernal equinox is known as the start of the spring season in the Northern Hemisphere. There are only 2 times during the year when the Earth's equator is not tilted toward or away from the sun, resulting in a nearly equal amount of daylight and darkness across all latitudes, according to the National Weather Service. These events are known as equinoxes. The equinox that occurs during the Northern Hemisphere's spring is called a vernal equinox, while the event that occurs during the Northern Hemisphere's fall is called an autumnal equinox. Why are days longer during the spring than winter? During spring, days are longer in the Northern Hemisphere because the region is continuing to move toward its greatest tilt toward the sun, which occurs during the summer solstice. When is the summer solstice in 2025? The summer solstice, the astronomical event that will occur next, is on Friday, June 20th at 10:41 p.m. EST. The summer solstice marks the longest daylight hours of the year and the start of the summer season. Astronomical versus meteorological seasons. What's the difference? Astronomical seasons are marked by equinoxes and solstices, which relate to the position of the Earth. Meteorological seasons are based on annual temperature patterns and cycles, which is why each season has both an astronomical and meteorological first day. Astronomical seasons are based on the position of the Earth in relation to the Sun, whereas meteorological seasons are based on the annual temperature cycle, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, says. The Earth's annual trip around the Sun forms the basis for the astronomical calendar in which seasons are defined by 2 solstices and 2 equinoxes. What is the difference between solstice and equinox? What happens during an equinox? There are 2 equinoxes and 2 solstices each year. Equinoxes occur during the fall and spring and are called the autumnal and vernal equinoxes. They mark the first day of spring and the first day of fall each year. Solstices occur during the winter and summer and mark the shortest and longest days of the year, respectively. The summer solstice is considered the first day of summer and the winter solstice is considered the first day of winter. Equinoxes are the only 2 times of the year when the Earth's axis isn't tilted toward or away from the Sun, which results in a nearly equal amount of daylight and darkness at all latitudes, according to the National Weather Service, NWS. At the equator, the Sun is directly overhead at noon on these 2 equinoxes, NWS says. The nearly equal hours of day and night are due to refraction of sunlight or a bending of the light's rays that causes the Sun to appear above the horizon when the actual position of the Sun is below the horizon. What will spring weather look like in Texas? While the ENSO phase, La Niña or El Niño, primarily impacts winter, it can also shape spring weather patterns. According to NOAA, if La Niña persists, the central and southern U.S., including Texas, could see an increase in large hail and tornado events from March through May. Currently, there's a 34% chance La Niña will extend into spring, potentially leading to more frequent severe weather in the early months of the season. While much of the U.S. is expected to experience a thunder and zing spring, in 2025, Texas, Oklahoma, and the Great Plains are forecasted to have warm, dry conditions. Texas will likely start spring with cooler than normal temperatures, but by May, the almanac anticipates a shift to above-average warmth. Summer is expected to bring continued heat, with rainfall hovering near or slightly below normal levels. Thanks for watching. Request you to subscribe the channel.